Well, Eric Crawford, some games need this setup for how big they're going to be. I don't think we got to do that for this one. Both Louisville and Notre Dame ranked in the top 20 as the Cardinals travel to South Bend. What are you expecting out of this one right off the jump?
Well, I think we're going to see the best from Notre Dame, and we're going to learn a lot about Louisville, and that's the big thing. I think we learned some about Louisville this past week. We saw they can play with a good opponent. Louisville didn't play its best by far, and still won the game pretty comfortably. So that's a great sign for them. They've got some injuries going into this. Notre Dame, I would think, they're going to be a favorite in the game. They were a 5-point favorite the last I looked.
Yep.
Louisville's the higher rated team, which also plays into Notre Dame's favor psychologically. So that's how it sets up, and a chance for a lot of Louisville players to prove themselves and see what they can do. But Louisville's 2-2 against Notre Dame all time. It's not like it's a different world or anything.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting storyline to consider. You know, Notre Dame came to this field last year and was the favorite, and Louisville sprung what was an upset at the time. But Eric, I think if Louisville goes in again and beats Notre Dame, nobody's going to see it as an upset this time, and maybe that speaks louder than anything else.
Well, the one good thing for Louisville, I think, is that there's not a lot of pressure on this team. I mean, this is a game Louisville can lose and still play in the ACC championship, still go to the college football playoff for that matter. But it's a good measuring stick game, and I think that's how you approach it. If you're Jeff Brom and those guys, you go all out to win, but you don't feel like there's a lot of pressure on you because you still got Miami coming in here. You still got to go to Clemson. You still got a ton of big games. You just kind of go for broke and see what happens.
Of course, a storyline that becomes increasingly important as we get into the nitty-gritty of the season is the overall health of this team, Eric. And Jaden Thompson at wide receiver, he's out for the year. I think he was starting to figure out, especially taking the place of a guy who's going to be a game-time decision. A lot of eyes are going to be on Colin Lacey. He was dressed out for the game against Georgia Tech but did not play. Another key piece, Quincy Riley, arguably the best player on Louisville's defense, their shutdown corner. He will be a game-time decision because I think he got banged up on that punt return attempt last time, Eric.
Yeah, those are tough losses. Thompson had been productive coming in and just playing as a young guy, filling in that role. I don't know what to think of Lacey. I feel like if he were going to play, we would not have heard his name or seen him anywhere close to the sideline. But either way, Ja'Cory Brooks is a top-level target, and he has proven to be a guy who can deliver. This is going to be a big national showcase game for him, and he's not afraid of this. This is a guy that caught 10 balls in the college football playoffs as a freshman, 6 catches in the national championship game. He's been on the biggest stage. This isn't going to bother him. And Chris Bell on the other side is becoming a big-time player for them. He's big, and he was open a lot. That he didn't get the ball in this last game. So those two guys are really good, and if you are able to add Lacey to that mix, I'm sure Tyler Shook is very happy, and Tyler Shook has been really good. So the run game is where it's going to be more of a challenge.
Absolutely, and I think I'll plant the tight end flag again because Jamari Johnson is showing that he has got such a high ceiling, I think, playing at Louisville. Mark Redmond has come up with a few big catches, but I look at the other side of the ball for some keys, Eric, because one area that I think Louisville's got to be better in is defending the quarterback run game. You saw it against Jacksonville State. You saw it a little bit against Georgia Tech. Riley Leonard is, for my book, one of the best running quarterbacks probably in the country, and Notre Dame wants that to be a featured part of their offense.
Yeah, it's always tough because you have to account for him, and Louisville loves to rush. As much as you love to put pressure on a quarterback, he's the kind of guy that can make you regret that pretty quickly if you're not disciplined. So now, I'm not so sure they wouldn't rather him be running with the ball than throwing deep on them sometimes, but yes, that's something they got to keep. And Jeff Brom mentioned it again, a big thing with this Louisville team is getting ahead in games, but the Georgia Tech game was important because they didn't get ahead. They fell behind 7-0. Almost never happens in this stadium, and they still came back to win.
Something that is advantageous for Louisville is they've seen Riley Leonard before when he was at Duke. They did a good job containing him then. I think he's a little healthier for this go-around, but regardless, we're expecting a great game in South Bend. Eric will be covering it for WDRB, but keep following us throughout the week. Got plenty more content ahead of this showdown between the Cardinals and the Fighting Irish, but for now, he's Eric Crawford. I'm Tyler Greever for WDRB Sports.